Yo, what is going on, everyone? Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to GTM Gaming and Delectables. I am your host, Gathering the Magic, and it's time for part two. So this is part two of the Card Market Watch for April 27th, 2025. So we're going to start at the beginning. We're going to go all the way back to Alpha and go through all the sets up to Rebellion and the most current promo cards. So let's get started with Alpha. So what is going on with Alpha cards? So right here we can see the Alpha Commons. So the low-end Commons are still selling for just under 50 cents. 43 cents for the Minotaur Warrior, 44 cents for the Silver Shield Warrior. Now if you remember a couple months ago, this was one of the more higher price cards in the set because of a buyout when there was only less than 10 copies available. At one point, I believe this card, maybe 6-8 months ago, was selling for like $40 some or some ridiculous amount. But as you can see here, prices have come back down more reasonably priced. All 20 commons are represented here, and they range all the way up to $4.25 for the Feral Spirit. But even though these are commons, look at the amount on the market for many of these. Many of these are in the teens or less. You've got 32 of this one, and you've got 62 Rexys. Other than that, there are not many Alpha, even common cards on the marketplace. Okay, now let's move on to the rares. So once again, the rares also have 20 copies, or there's 20 different rares in the Alpha set. All 20 are represented here. Range in price for $1.27 for Stone Splitter Orc, all the way up to $39 for Cerberus. Is that for a single copy? No, that is for 16, level 5. So about $2.44 per card. So that makes a little bit more sense. So yep, you're not paying $39 for a single BCX. Once again, you can see not very many of these copies are on the marketplace. Let's take a look just at the Summoners. So your Alpha Summoners have moved up in price over the last few months. I can remember like Tyrus being like $1.50, $2. He's at $3.37. Ulrich is back up to 10. Liana is up to almost 10. So not many of these on the market, and these are starting to move up in price. Those are for your rares. Going to the epics, 9 epics represented here out of the 10 cards in the set. So $3.68 is your cheapest Alpha Epic, all the way to $11.76 for the Swamp Thing. You can see total amount of cards in circulation, you're right around 1,000 to 1,200 for most of these cards. But, you know, all of them except for Screaming Banshee, you're at a dozen copies or less for sale. And then finally, your legendary cards, 7 out of the 9 are represented here. You can see here prices have moved up. For a while, what was it, $20 I think was your cheapest Alpha legendary card. Now it is $30. Lord of Darkness, yes, that is for a single BCX, over $40. So I picked this one up a few months ago. I want to say it was 20 or under 20. I thought that was a steal. So yep, he's up to 40. And then Gold Dragon is the most expensive at $5.99. And that is for a max copy. Now remember, for Alpha, you don't need 11 copies to max out a legendary, you only need 8. So that is a max level card. Now let's move to the gold foils. So as I mentioned in part 1, there are 20 gold commons, of course, in the set. There are only 18 represented here. Now, over the last few months that I've been doing this, I've noticed there has been at least one of each on the marketplace. So as you can see now, only 18 of 20. And once again, so rare. Look at single copies, 2 copies, 3 copies, and these are commons. So even though some of them can get quite pricey once you get, you know, to $40 and more, you know, with a few of these being under 20 and being as limited as they are, I'll just put this out there. Which would you rather have? Would you rather have 1 legendary Conclave Arcana pack or 1 Alpha Gold Foil common? I'll just leave that up to you guys. Okay, so there are the Gold Foil commons. Gold Foil rares, 13 out of the 20. That's it. 7 of them, there's not even one for sale on the market. And where are the numbers in the upper right-hand corner? Oh, wait, that means there's only 1 of each. Only 2 of the Clay Golem, only 3 of Malric, 4 of Ulrich, and that's it. Every other rare for sale. There's only a single copy. Your epics, 10 total, only 4 on the marketplace. Single copies of these two, 2 of the Mermaid, 2 of Swamp Thing, that's it. And then legendaries, gone. So whatever gold foils there were for alpha, hopefully these have been taken off and put on land. Otherwise, don't know where they went, guys. They are just gone. Okay, before we leave alpha, of course, let's look at the promo cards. So for your promo cards, the common Dragon Whelp is $6.45, 9 copies available. The rare Nebseni is sitting at $9.88, and the legendary Shinlo is at $4.99. There is no epic for sale. And then if you look at the gold foil version, the only gold foil is the rare at $89, and there's 2 of those available. Okay, so that's it for alpha. Let's go to beta. Just look at the core and the reward cards. So regular foil commons, starting at 6-7 cents a piece. You guys know a few months ago they were what, 4 or 5 cents. So not a whole lot of movement, but you know they have ticked up just ever so slightly. So 6-7 cents is the floor for your beta commons, all the way up to like the cube. The cube is such a good card, and it's only 9 cents. Creeping Ooze, 11 cents. Your healer, 14. All the way up to Rexy at 58 cents. So why is this the most expensive card compared to how I think much more useful other ones are, like Flesh Golem, Crustacean King, Shaman? Yep. So I think this one's a little bit out of line with the rest of the cards, but that is the most expensive beta common currently. Moving on to the rares, so now you start getting close to the 30-cent range. 27 cents for the Octopiter. He is the cheapest. Up to, you can see Summoner here for 55 cents. Zentard, 82 cents. The chicken, look at this. The chicken is getting close to $1 again per card. $1.51 for Liana. I remember this card being 30-40 cents. Same thing with Tyrus being under $1. He's $1.64. Ulrich is getting close to $3 for your rares. Your epics, just under $1. Manticore, the only epic under $1 currently. There are the correct artwork. Moving up to 21.38, and I thought, okay, this has got to be a multiple BCX copy. There's 18 available. Nope, 21.38 just for a single card from Channel Magnetic. So those are your epic cards. And then moving on to the beta legendary cards, your cheapest, the Kraken, just under $6 at $5.71. Lord of Darkness, alpha version was what, 40, and beta is at $12.97. I think that's probably a little bit underpriced. That should probably be twice that, in my opinion. Cryptmancer at 15, very cheap. I would put that at least at 25. So there are some deals out here for some of the older beta legendary cards. Another great card, Lord Ariandas, with the shield and the void for under 20. I think that's a good price. 30 for Prince Renan. Valnamore sitting at 49. I think that's the lowest I've seen him for BCX in quite a while. But the most expensive beta surpassing Valnamore is Chromatic Dragon. This is for a max copy, so per card is only $8, which is, you know, where I think it should be. You know, $8 for a legendary, that seems about right for beta for what this card is, but no individual copies, so that's why you're seeing that there at $88. Okay, and then the gold foil versions. $2 is holding strong for the floor for beta common gold foils. Once again, not many on the market. Remember, you need what is it, 38 of these to max one out? Yep, 38. So if there's under 38 for most of these, then it looks like, assuming most of these are individual copies, you can't even max one out. Let's just look at Goblin Mech. So there is one max copy. And then you've got, yeah, not even enough to get a second copy. Creeping Ooze for under 3. Flesh Golem for 4. Cube for 4. So there, I think there's some still good prices here for gold foils. Up to 23 for Goblin Shaman. Looking at the rares, which of course will include some summoners. So Silver Shield Assassin is the cheapest rare at $9. Cerberus at 11. I remember back in 2021 when I first started playing, I came up against this card all the time, this card all the time. Anything with self-heal. The Haunted Spirit, faced that one a lot. Of course, everyone had a chicken. Gold foil chicken at 20. Water Elemental, yep. And then we start getting into the summoners. Now you're hitting at $30 per summoner. 43 for Liana. 55 for Ulrich. I think I'll have to go back and look at some of the older videos I've done. I remember this being a lot cheaper. I think this was at like 20 at one point. And I was telling people, I'm like, man, 20 bucks for him is way too low. And then of course 1600 for him is way too high. Yeah, that's a bit ridiculous for those prices. Okay, so that's it for the rares. Let's look at the gold foil epics. So now you're getting in the $40 range for the floor of gold foil epics for beta. Once again, look, very low liquidity. 1, 2, 3 copies of each of these cards. And when you start getting into single copies, people can just basically name their price. Doesn't mean it's going to sell. They probably won't. But it's just kind of, you know, exemplifying the fact that there's just not many out there. I mean, look at this. Total in circulation, 200 cards. You know, 199, 109. So these are just so rare. And then finally, your legendary cards. That's it. Only 11 of them for sale. Out of the entire legendary pool, you only have 11 cards available. And, you know, most of these are just single copies. All right. So now let's go to common, regular foil. Take a look at the promo cards from beta. So your common promo is Delwyn. Still holding at 65 cents. 54 copies available. There are some max copies available on the market. So your rare sitting at 35 cents. The epic $2.79. Red Dragon $39. And then as I mentioned in part 1, look at Prince Julian, 2 for sale. $3,622 is the cheapest. Of course, it is max level. And Archmage Arius, maxed out, $5,500, and there are only 87 cards in circulation. And then for the gold foil versions, Delwyn is sitting at 15, 20 for the Bowman, and then 1,000 for the Fiendish Harpy. All right, let's move on now to orbs. Very small set, very small pool of commons, only 4 different commons, 6 to 9 cents. Your rares, 3 of them available. This one has really moved up, as you can see. Is this for single BCX? I keep saying BCX. I'm so used to it. Yes, $1.10. So for ages, it seems like these things were, what, 25 to 29 cents? I remember they were in the mid to upper 20 cents range a piece. So this one has really increased. The Undead Archer. I love it just because 2 mana, great for Little League, you know, very affordable. And then right off the bat, it gets Affliction, which is so nice. And then for your epics, the 2 epics in the set have bounced around anywhere from just under $1 to $1.50, low 2s. Now they're, you know, the mid $2 range. So $2.64 for the Wizard, $2.67 for the Healer. And then finally your legendary cards. As I mentioned in part 1, these have doubled in price over the last couple months. Lord of Fire used to be, what, a $5, $6 card. The Minotaur Warlord was right around 8 to 10. So you can see here now you're looking $12 to $16 for those 3 cards. And then for your gold foil versions, $2 for the Goblin Chef, up to $11.50 for the Enchanted Defender. Your rares, $11.20 for the Eels, up to $17 for the Undead Archer. Your epics, Dwarven Wizard is the only one of the 2, $60, only 139 in circulation. And then finally your legendaries, Minotaur Warlord, 2 in the marketplace, only 39 in existence. $400 for this one, and then $800 for the Corrupted Pegasus, 2 on the market, and there's only 52 in circulation. All right, let's move on to Untamed. Untamed core and reward cards. So your regular foil commons, you're looking at, actually there is a card down to a penny. Your most expensive common is not the Spy or the Filled Summoner, which are usually the top cards. It is Warrior of Peace, sitting there at 48 cents. That is for a single copy. So he has really moved up in price. Typically he'd been, what, 7 to 10 cents, somewhere in there. I mean, I know he's like usually at sandworm price or lower, so he's really moved up in price. But still, some affordable Untamed cards. Let's move to rares. So with your rares, your cheapest rare, you're looking at 7 cents for Untamed rares. All the way up to 60 cents for Bortus and 49 cents for Wizard of Eastwood. Just take a quick look at the summoner prices. So 29 cents is your cheapest, Contessa for 33, Pyre 44, Drake at 47, and then of course 49 for Wizard of Eastwood and 60 cents for Bortus. And then your epics, 22 cents is your cheapest epic, then it jumps to 30 cents for the Sporcerer. All the way up to $1.19 for the Gorladon. And I think I've mentioned this in previous videos. Back in 2021, I think it was a couple months after I joined, during the boom in prices where everything was going crazy. I remember like gold foil commons at the time were like $5 plus. I remember paying, I think, over $20 for a Gorladon back then, and now it's $1.19. But you know what? I really don't care. Love the card. Don't regret it. Going to legendaries, $1.98 is your cheapest. Ancient Lich, same thing. I think I bought an Ancient Lich for 23 or 24, something like that. It's $2. Still a great card. If I played more in Wild and didn't do just Modern, I would definitely pick up more and level mine up. But pretty much I'm just a Modern player now. And then some of the key cards in the set: Byzantine Kitty, under 50 at 46.75. Jotun is stuck here at 44.97. Really no movement on him in the last month and a half. Llama, upper 20s to low 40s has been the range for Llama. What's another one? Cornelius had a spike about a month ago. Now it's back under 10. Kron has bounced anywhere from like, what, $7 or $8 up to in the 30s. So he is always all over the place. So he is at 12. You can see the other legendaries here, along with how many are in circulation and how many are on the market. So even Kitty, there's only 9 kitties on the marketplace. And now for your gold foil versions. So your gold commons, they've moved up. I think wasn't the floor 50 cents not that long ago for gold commons for Untamed? I think it was just above 50 cents. Now you're getting real close to 70, 80 cents for the floor for these things. All the way up to Parasitic Growth at 3. This has got to be a max copy, I would hope. Yep, max copy for $55, $1.45 a piece. That's not too outrageous. So once again, some very good cards here. Sandworm Gold, $1.45. Let's look at the rares, which will include some summoners. So $2.50 for Phineas Rage, then you're looking at $3 for the floor for some gold foil rares. Very nice cards here. All the way up to $9.80 for True Speaker. Let's take a look once again at the summoners, see what gold foil prices are. So $5 for Contessa, $5.34 for Mother Kala, Drake at $5.59, Bortus at $8. Wizard of Eastwood at $9, and then Pyre, surprisingly the most expensive, at $9.25. Your gold epics, $13 for Torhilo, then it jumps to $15.50 for the next cheapest, and then it jumps another $2 to $17.75. So you're getting very close to $20 being the floor for gold epics from Untamed, all the way up to $2.20 for the Goblin Fire Mage. But once again, this is the only one on the market. And then finally, your gold foil legendaries. Look at how few there are in the marketplace. Of all the legendaries, how many legendaries are there? Well, there's 24 regular foil, and there's only 11 gold foil on the market out of 24. So 13 gold foil legendaries are missing from the market from Untamed. 2 kitties starting at 1,000, llama single copy 990, 5 Jotun just under 900. So not very many gold foils here. And this is another reason why I've talked about in the past, like pack prices. Like, to me, $7.50 for an Untamed pack is a great deal when you figure that, yes, the chance is extremely low, but you could pull a $1,000 card out of it. So just saying, that's why I think packs are a great long-term hold. Not financial advice, just my opinion. Okay, so that is it, I believe, for Untamed. We went through all the rarities there. So now let's look at the promo cards. So your 3 promo cards: Halfling Alchemist, $1.27. Chain Golem had been, what, 8 to 12. Now he's up to 27. Mighty Dricken at just under 1,000. And then your gold foil versions: Halfling Alchemist, $150, and Chain Golem, $200. Okay, let's look now at dice. So once again, small set dice, 2 to 8 cents for your commons. Decent amount in circulation on the marketplace. Your rares, which are your summoners. So Mylor continues to be the top card, but just over $1, $1.09. He had gone up to $3, $4 in the last couple of months. Lorna Shine sitting at 75 cents. Bright and Bloom just under $1. Quid and Vera usually the cheapest, you know, back down to low 20s. And then Ouster at 42. So surprisingly, these are still available. You know, I know how popular survival mode is, and I would think that all the sub, 30-cent summoners would be gone by now, regardless of set. But even if they're not the greatest, they are summoners and they allow you to play. So expect those to tick up in price as we move forward. Your epics, Dragon Spirit continues to be the most expensive at $1. And then finally your legendaries range from $3 for the floor up to $21.50 for Epona. Crawlis sitting at $13.85. And your gold foil versions, commons, 74 cents to $1.15 for the battering ram. Decent amount in circulation as well on the marketplace. You know, start getting in the mid-20s. Your rare summoners, only a single Vera. I think when I looked earlier, this one wasn't on the marketplace. I think this one just got listed. Because when I looked earlier, there was only 5 summoners. Lorna Shine just under 10, Mylor at 15. Your epics, $23 up to $30 for Grenadier. And your legendary cards, only 7 available. Epona, there's actually a gold foil Epona for $7,500. Crawlis at $250. As you can see, single copies for sale. Some people put more realistic prices, and other people put the I don't want to sell it price. Okay, so that's it for Untamed. For dice, wow, are we already all the way up to Chaos Legion? All right, so let's look at the core and reward cards. Just the commons. So you can see how many are still in circulation. So some of these reward cards were still in the low, million to 1.3 million. So still tons of these on the market. All the way up to 6 cents. Scavo Highling continues to be the top card. Then the other cards that are above a penny: Psychic at 4, Deep Lurker at 3, Supply Runner at 3, Chaos Agent and Disintegrator at 2 cents, Stitch Leech at 2 cents as well. Everything else is a penny or less. For your rares, of course, they always start at right around 2 cents for some of the reward cards. Going up to some of the summoners, you're seeing 13 cents for General Sloan, 18 for Tarsa, 20 for Obsidian, 21 for Thaddeus Brood, and 30 cents for Kelia. Your epics, 10 cents for Jinjwala, 11 cents is the floor other than that. And the prices go all the way to 29 cents, surprisingly, for Lava Launcher is the top card. And then finally for your legendaries, We're still holding above 50 cents for our Chaos Legion Legendary cards. So River Hellendale is 54 cents. That's the cheapest from the core set. All the way up to the two most expensive, and they usually are, Possibilis and Immortalis, sitting at $4.04 and $4.22. Lily Shieldpaw under 3 at $2.60, Quicks at $3.18. Astral Entity $2.55, Conqueror Yasik at $2.23, and Grandmaster Wrath at $1.81. Those are your legendary summoners. Now the gold cards, the ones everyone wants for land. So your gold foil commons, the floor has moved to 23 cents. And there are a decent amount. You can see we're 50, 60, 80 for a lot of these cards. All the way up to the most expensive is 81 cents for the Scavo Hireling. Let's take a look to see how many max level cards are for sale on the market. So if you're looking to pick up max level gold foil commons for land, looks like $9, 9 to 10 is the floor for some of these. $11.20 for Pelcor Mercenary, Bird Hamper under 12. So got a few under 10 right here, this top row. And you start quickly getting to $11 to $14 after that. All the way up to max Scavo Hireling is just under $31. And there are quite a few of some of these max level cards. So if you are still looking for max level commons, gold foil to put on land, you do have some options currently. So moving to rares. So your rares are now just under $1 for the cheapest 3. So basically $1 is the floor for your gold foil rares from Chaos Legion. All the way up to your most expensive is Kelia at $4.30. How many max copies are available? So max level copies look like they're going to run you 21 to 25 bucks for this first row and a half. Then you quickly get into 30 plus. Not very many though, as you can see here. Single copy, 3, 4, there's 5. So as you get into the rares, there's not as many on the market. And look, some of these, $99 for a rare, 77. So the commons are somewhat plentiful, but not very many rares at all. Let's move on to the epics, kind of my favorite sweet spot for land. So just under $5, but of course these are neutrals, so people want the bonuses. So now you're looking at $5 as the floor for a gold epic. So $5 up to $9 for Magi Necrosi. So a range that they pretty much settled in for the last few months. You get to that $5 to $8 range for most of them. How many max levels are there on the marketplace? Look, very few. Very, very few. Single copies of 8 of the 9 that are available for sale. Only 2 Jinchwalas. And like I said, people usually don't want these for land because they don't give the bonuses. So now you're looking at basically $50 to $70 for a max gold epic, and not much to choose from. And then finally, your gold legendaries. As I mentioned in part 1, we're holding the floor at just above $30. Up to your most expensive ones. And look at this, surprisingly your top, 6 most expensive gold cards are not summoners. Your most expensive gold summoner is Lily at 53. Then you're looking at Possibilis at 41, Yasik at 40. Got Grandmaster Wrath at 35. You've got Immortalis 36, Quicks at 32. So if 30 is the cheapest one, I think Quicks is a steal at 32. I'd rather have a Quicks than the card no one plays. But there are your gold foil legendaries from Chaos Legion. Okay, so now let's look at the Soulbound reward cards from Chaos Legion. So I mentioned in part 1, for some reason, Wile E. Coyote is sitting at 4 cents, which I think is under the cost to unlock them and list them. So if you need some, there's some available. And then 29 cents for Fungus Flinger. Shout out to Boba Fett, great pickup. So he is still at 29 cents. Your rares, you're looking at 24 cents to 90 cents for the Marks Rat. I believe this is another one too that he got. He's getting close to $1 there. And of course these summoners, and I think long term these summoners are going to be key for Wild, because at some point you've got to know that they're going to come out with other formats other than just Modern and Wild. As we get more and more and more sets, you're going to have kind of like probably your Alpha, Beta, maybe Untamed format. Then you're going to get your Orb and Dice and Chaos Legion and Rift Watchers format, and then you're going to get other formats. So these older ones that you can play in Wild and they allow you to play Gladiator cards, I think these are always going to be useful. And if you are planning on being a Wild player, I think these are pretty much must-have cards, because I don't think they're ever going to redo the conscript ability again. I think they thought that that was a mistake to have that, especially in Modern, and to be something that you could earn and not buy. So if they do come out with these cards again, I would think they're going to be in packs, but yeah, I highly doubt you're going to see that conscript ability again. So since that is just such a unique ability and such a powerful ability, bringing in Gladiator cards, and two, they may come out with, and they probably will, a new Gladiator card set in the future. I think these cards are very, very undervalued. You know, even being rare and even having a very high amount in circulation, you know, these are great. Guys, basically what I'm trying to say is if you don't have these cards for the level you want to play in Wild, you probably should get them sooner than later. Okay, moving to epics. So your epic cards range just under 2 to 294. And your legendaries, all 12 are represented here, so all are available for sale, anywhere from $6.60 up to $13.99 for Izziar. And then the gold foil versions, $1.65 up to $76, and as I mentioned in part 1, this is for a max level card, so it is $2 per BCX, which is pretty much in line with what these go for. And then your rares, you're looking at $6.80 up to $38 for this summoner. That's for a single card? Wow. Yep, so the gold foil ones are really, really pricey. Yep, 20 bucks. 15 bucks, okay, yep. So the regular foils I think are very affordable, being under $1. The gold foils are really, really getting pricey. The cheapest one is this one for 12, and that's the only one for a single BCX. Okay, let's move on to epics. So now you're looking at $20 to $75. This is for a single card too. Wow. Yeah, that's the I don't want to sell it price, I think. I mean, these are a little bit more expensive to unlock, but really that high? Because that one's only 19. So if it only costs you, like, I can't even remember offhand how much it costs to unlock, but if you can sell one for 20, that seems way out of line. Of course, it's the only one, so I guess if you want it. And then finally, your legendaries, 9 out of the 12 are represented. Kulu at 118, 2 copies. Once again, look how few. Two single copies, 2 single copies, 3 of Barracks, 1 a suit for 1,500, and then none of the other 3. So not a lot of people spent the DEC to unlock these, so yeah, these are extremely rare. What is next on the list? Did we go to the promo cards yet? I don't think we did. So you've got Archimus at 8, Varuz at 13, Oshur under 5, actually even under 4 at 392. Zerial continues to fall to 912, Dr. Blight $12, and then Waka 113, 7 Lux Vega starting at 239. And then the gold foil versions, Varuz at 158, Archimus 159, Oshur at just under 36, Dr. Blight just under 80, Zerial 145, and then 2 Lux Vegas, $4,500 and $4,900. Okay, I think we're up to Rift Watchers now. So Rift Watcher, let's look at regular foil commons. So you're looking at 1 to 5 cents for the commons. Your rares, 4 cents up to 27 cents for Queen of Crows. Your epics, 27 cents for Quaddus, 31 for Dallin, all the way to 91 cents for Ilthane, so Ilthane is under $1. And then finally your legendaries, you know, usually the cheapest ones are just above $1. And then Inevitable is at 18. Immolation at 646. Runemancer Flurry at 588. C-Rec 521. Look at Agar down under 5, as Coral Lurker is under 5 as well. And then your gold versions, your commons range 24 cents to 254 for Bramble Pixie. Your rares $1.10 to 573 for Queen of Crows. Your gold epics, $6.31 for Dallin, up to $12.93 for Fernheart. And then finally your gold legendaries, $37 for Runemancer Kai, up to $200 for Inevitable. And there's actually 3 for sale on the marketplace. So single copies for $200 a piece, and then a max level 1 for $7.95. Okay, have we finally made it? We finally made it to the newest set, to Rebellion. So let's start with core Rebellion cards. And let's look at commons, regular foil. So you're ranging from 6 cents is the cheapest common. So you can see there's still quite a few commons on the marketplace, and they are holding its value, all the way up to 37 cents for the Surveyor. Your rares start at 11 cents, all the way up to $1.77 for Moxie and Rebel. Your epic cards, 50 cents for the Redworm Hatchling, all the way up to some of your key cards, Palace, $1.20, your weapon trainers, $1.20 and $1.44, Captain Fellblade, $2.06, and Satha Toledo at $2.07. And then finally your legendary cards, just under $3 is your cheapest legendary Rebellion card, all the way up to, we went through the prices in part 1. You can see Tofu is still at $63 plus. And Lorcus, this is for a single BCX, is $45. The only other one on the market is a max level card for $380, and that's still about $34, almost $35 per BCX. But the big mover is Elias Max Pruitt. Not many on the marketplace. Earlier there was these 3 available, so this one just came on the market recently. It's not usable for another 25 hours, but it's slightly cheaper than the other one, but still basically double in price for where he has been historically. So he is the big winner this week. And then if we look at the gold foil versions, so your commons are just under $1. In fact, there's just this one at 78 cents, and then you're very close to $1 for the floor. For commons, as rare as Rebellion is, not a lot was open. People that have it are not really selling a whole lot of them, especially the gold foils. These things get very scarce and very pricey. Then your rares, you're looking at $1.79, $1.80 for the cheapest, all the way up to $35 for Moxie and Rebel, only 2 available. Your epics, you're looking at $8.06 for the cheapest, up to $32.50 for Captain Fellblade. And then finally your gold legendaries. Once again, we went over these key cards in part 1. I'll just kind of show you the screen here so you can see how few there are in circulation. So these gold legendaries are in the low 100s. Now remember, this is the most current set. This is the one that we had tons of opportunities to buy and open. Just over 1 million packs were sold. Most of the packs are open, and even with most of the packs being opened, there's barely over 100 of each of these in circulation. So these things are incredibly rare. Look at Risk Eldrath, only 88 golds in circulation. Yeah, these things are incredibly rare. And there's only, what, anywhere from 40,000 to, if everyone takes them off battle wagons, 60,000 packs available. So opening 60,000 packs, you're going to add, what, maybe another couple hundred, 250 gold foil legendaries to the market, and then divide it by that. So you might get another 10 or 12 of each of these. Yeah, these things are incredibly rare. And that's for a new set. Okay, so that's it for the gold legendaries. So now let's look at the reward cards. So your reward cards are in the 10 to 13 cent range for the commons. Your rares, 34 cents to 53 cents. Your epics, 204 to 238. And your legendaries, $10 is basically the floor, up to $12.80 for Warborn Chieftain. This is still a card I'm chasing for my main account. I have not been able to pull this card yet, and I think Strength was the other one. So I've got the other ones. I just need to pick up these two. Hopefully RNG will be with me at end of season, and I can get one of these cards. And then, let's see, for the gold foil versions, 227 to 290 for your commons. Your rares, $10 to $16.65. Your epics, $48 to $68.99. And then finally legendaries, no legendaries for sale on the market. Okay, so let's wrap this up by looking at the promo cards. There are quite a few. So starting with your commons, of course the only one is Mana Warden, 16 cents for the regular foil, $2.94 for the gold foil. And then for your rare cards, Henchling Enforcer is at 75 cents, Keelan Gaines $1.69, Mariput Mossbender $1.96, Night Stalker up to $3.30 along with Warborn Shaman. Grimbarden Smith holding very strong, very close to $5 per card. Rune Anarchist is at $5. Gold foil, Henchling Enforcer at $6. Sanctus Vicar, mentioned this in part 1. This is for the regular foil, $9.99. Yep, it is Baby Omega. He's the only one that has a non-max copy. So you've got one max copy, and then you got Baby's listing, basically. Then your gold foil versions, Keelan Gaines $12.49, Warborn Shaman $17.90, Night Stalker at $18, Mariput sitting at $18.98, Sanctus Vicar gold foil at $30, Grimbarden Smith gold foil at $32, and Rune Anarchist gold foil at $36.54. And then finally, looking at your legendary cards. So the cheapest one is Baron Fiat. He's come down from, he was in the $6 range. He's currently down to $4.10. Ulfka sitting at $17. Mantaroth at $36.91. Fizbo at $37.45. Nefket at $37.97. Eleanor at $56.99. Gold foil Baron Fiat just under $60 at $59.59. Delia at $80 along with Rick Loneman. Ulfka gold foil $160, Mantaroth gold foil $197.99, Fizbo gold foil $350, Nefket gold foil $407.50, Eleanor Bravefoot $500, Delia gold foil $500, and then finally Heloise the Hollow. There are 4 available starting at $3,500. And that's it, guys. That is it for the Market Watch. This is episode, I believe, what did I say, 34, April 27th, 2025. So we've gone through the entire market. The big news this week, of course, has been Conclave Arcana, the launch, and the SPS burning. But wanted to go through all of the cards. Haven't done that in a while, so we can kind of, like I said, the main thing is just have a record of how many cards are on the market. So, you know, years from now, we can look back, see what prices were, see how many were on the market, and how many are in circulation between then and now. So hope you guys enjoyed. Hope you guys are doing well. Thank you for sticking with me in this long part 2. But as you guys know, I like doing a deep dive, so you know, we can just have a record of cards because we love this game. We know where it's been some good times, been some rough times, and I think most of us know where it's going, and it's going in a very, very good direction. So hope you guys are doing well. Thank you so much for all the support and everything that you guys have done for the community, for each other, for me. So excited for this game and everything going forward. So as I always say, guys, stay the course, keep on forging, have fun, grab those Conclave Arcana packs if you haven't already, because there's some goodies inside. All right, take care.